I'm Shane Ramey. You're listening to That Sober Guy podcast. And this week, I'm proving that you can handle stress without a drink. You can handle stress without a drink. So what does that look like? Where do you even start with that? And we're going to start with relatability. I'll share a little story with you and some brutal honesty here. Let me ask you something. How many times do you drink or did you drink because you were stressed out? It's a pretty common question. A lot of guys deal with it. A lot of people deal with it. I dealt with it myself. And it's tough sometimes. Rough day at work. I deserve a beer. The bills are piling up. I'm stressed out. How am I going to pay this? How am I going to pay that? You know what? A couple shots of tequila, a couple beers. That's going to take the edge off. Kids are going crazy. They're driving me crazy. They're bouncing off the walls. This and that. I'm constantly cleaning up. It's enough to drive you insane. Let's drink about it. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it sometimes. And we find reasons to escape. We find reasons to deal with the stress through drinking. And it's a tool. It is, unfortunately. And it's a tool that has been very normalized. And, those of us who have dealt with it for a long time or watched our parents deal with it growing up, it's a pretty short-term, reliable tool in the moment if we don't have any other tools or we don't know how to use any other tools to deal with some of this stuff that revolves around stress, whether it's bills or the kids or a rough day at work or an argument with your spouse or you're dealing with health issues maybe, and it's a little easier to just take the edge off. I get it. I'm not condoning or I'm not condemning anyone or talking down on anyone for any of this stuff. That's why I'm up here and sharing this stuff on this podcast, because I've dealt with a lot of it. And if I haven't dealt with it personally, I probably have been close to somebody who has, because there's so many stories out there and so many similarities in this topic alone when it comes to stress. So for years, I thought that alcohol was the pressure valve for me. That was what helps alleviate the stress or the bad thoughts or the worry, the anxiety. I pour the alcohol in and the stress goes out. I pour it in, the stress goes out. The problem is it was fleeting. It was temporary. And here's what I learned along the way. Alcohol doesn't remove stress. It only delays it. It only delays the stress. And in addition to that, it compounds the stress over time, which makes it even worse. So today, we're going to continue this 4-week series from my book, Sober Guy, How Do I? Real Answers for Men Who Want to Quit Drinking, Lead Strong, and Win at Life. Here is the copy of that if you're interested. If you're watching this on YouTube, love for you to check the book out and leave us a review. Stress. How do you deal with stress without drinking? How do we do it? And it's something that comes up almost all the time. Almost all the time. It doesn't change. And let me be clear, just because we quit drinking, it doesn't mean that we quit having stress. So let me rephrase that, because I remember in the beginning, and I'd put a couple of weeks together, and then all of a sudden something would happen and I'd go, well, gosh, I quit drinking and I'm still having this happen and that happen. I'm still stressed out, so I might as well go back to drinking. That was my mentality. And then it just doesn't make a lot of sense. It did then. It made a lot of sense then, but it doesn't make a lot of sense now when I look back on it. And the problem wasn't that I was having stress. Stress is inevitable for an adult with responsibilities. It's going to happen sometimes. What's not normal is drinking about it every single time. That's not normal. The stress is normal. The drinking is not, no matter how much it is normalized. And they tell us, how many times have you heard that? Oh man, I need a beer. I need a drink. Because in the short term, it does relieve some of that stress. So I'm not denying that. But where we have to be careful is over long periods of time, when that's our only go-to tool, that's the only thing we end up knowing how to use. And that's where it became for me, is like the only way I knew how to conversate, how to share my thoughts, my feelings, my opinions the only time I knew how to alleviate anxiety and stress was through alcohol. And that's when it can become a problem. And that's when a lot of guys start going, like, they question, what do these drinking habits look like? How is it affecting my sleep? How is it affecting my job performance? How is it affecting my marriage, my role as a dad? All those things start coming up, and stress can be at the forefront of a lot of those. And it was a big one for me. It was a big one for me. Alcohol felt like the ultimate stress release. Let me just get after it. I couldn't wait to get somewhere. Let's say we're going somewhere and you know there's going to be alcohol there. Maybe it's a wedding, maybe it's a party, maybe it's a concert. Have you ever you're stressed, going into it, you're getting ready or you're getting off of work and you got to hurry up and get ready. And you got this to remember to do and this, and you got to feed the dogs and all the things, right, that you're trying to do before you get there. And by the time you get out the door, you're stressed to the max. You're supposed to be going to have a good time, but you're stressed. And on the way to this good time, whatever it is that you're going to, whatever the event is, all you can think about is that drink to get. As soon as you get there, I got to get a drink, man. I got to get it. I got to get something, man, to alleviate this. I get it. I've been there, but that's not normal. It's not normal. And we're going to talk about some other tools today to go over that can help us with some of that. And the book, Sober Guy, How Do I, has about 10, 11 chapters of that. These practical things, practical takeaways. And we're going to talk about what some of those tools are today. Are they super sexy and this immediate fix? No, they come with practice like anything. They come with practice. And the more you practice, the better you get. And the more consistent you are, the more you show up, the better you get because you're continuing to practice. So sobriety forced me to learn something new. It forced me to learn how to deal with some of the stuff I was just talking about in somewhat of a healthy manner. Stress doesn't have to cripple you. It doesn't have to crush you. It's not going to crush me. Is it stressful sometimes? Yes. Even as of recently, just some work stuff and trying to juggle life and kids and the whole thing. It can be a lot some days. I get it. But it doesn't have to crush me. It can actually sharpen me. And here's what I mean by that. So why is stress such a big trigger to drink? And first of all, it becomes a habit loop. Stress, I get a drink, I get temporary relief. And your brain wires that in. You get used to it. It's habit. It becomes habit. Stress, drink, temporary relief. Stress, drink, temporary relief. Your brain learned that stress equals alcohol. So now it feels automatic. Stress, drink. Stress, drink. Temporary relief. Temporary relief. It happens for a minute. But we confuse numbness with relief. We confuse numbness with relief. And there's an important distinction between the two. Drinking doesn't fix stress. It numbs the feeling. Right? The bills are still there. The deadline is still there. The relationship issue, the argument is still there. We didn't deal with it. We just drank about it. And so now the drinking stacks that stress. So when you're continuing to do that loop, stress, drink, temporary relief, you're not solving the stress. You're just stacking it. You're adding on to it. It's the snowball rolling down the hill. It starts small, and by the time it gets to the bottom, it's massive. Now, sobriety, I mentioned this already, but I want to be clear. Sobriety doesn't remove stress. Life's still going to throw junk at us sometimes. Same thing. Maybe it's financial issue. Maybe it's a deadline you got to meet. Maybe work is just so busy. Maybe the kids are driving you crazy. Maybe you have some issues you have to deal with. Whatever it is, those things are still going to come at you. But what changes with sobriety is not those things necessarily, but your attitude changes. Your tools change on how you deal with it, how you respond to it. Those are the things that change because you learn how to cope in different ways. So let's talk about the stress management framework. All right. Stress management framework. What are some practical solutions here? Number one, move your body. Stress is physical energy. A lot of it. Not all of it. A lot of it, I get it. Mental stress absolutely exists. Physical stress absolutely exists. You feel it, you're tense in your shoulders, your back, your neck. It's physical energy a lot of the time. And if you don't release it, it builds up. And so what are some of the things you're doing to alleviate stress by moving your body? Hitting the gym, taking a walk, taking a run, lifting some weights. Maybe you like boxing. I love boxing. One of the greatest workouts. Jump some rope. I've been doing adding on just as of yesterday. Get yourself a little timer, and you can do 10 30-second rounds of jump rope. Just try that. 10 rounds, so you get a 30-second jump rope session and then a 30-second rest. 30-second session, 30-second rest. Do that 10 times. Some great cardio, great hand-eye coordination. Little shadow boxing, even if you don't have a heavy bag. Even something like yard work, doing stuff outside, gardening, stress management, physical things, Pilates, yoga, stretching, rolling out. Those types of things are free therapy. Just move your ass. Move your body every day, even if it's 15 minutes. That's the first one. Move your body. The second one, breathe. 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 I'll just say it 3 times. Breathe. Slow down and breathe. This is a good one for me to remind myself. I need to slow down and breathe sometimes. I get all over the place sometimes. And I just need to sit back and take a breath. They call it box breathing, is one of the techniques too. So what it looks like is something, inhale for 4 seconds. My nose is a little stuffed up here, dang it. You hold it for 4 seconds, then you exhale for 4 seconds. Do that 4 or 5 times. Inhale 4 seconds, hold 4 seconds, exhale 4 seconds. Try that a couple times. Start getting stressed, start getting going too fast. Just stop, pause right there, stand in the same spot, sit down in a chair. Breathe a couple times. Before you respond to something, breathe. You don't have to react right there. The third one, journal, write. Write poetry, write a story, write about your day. What does that look like? Write about whatever you want. And this is such good therapy because sometimes just picture your brain. It's a huge computer. And if it's anything like mine, there's massive stuff going on in there at all times. And it's hard to focus sometimes. It's hard to think. It's hard to make decisions. It can get overwhelmed on overload. Some days aren't like that. Some weeks aren't like that. Some months it's easy. It's flow. But we shift sometimes, man. There's different seasons. Even the seasons change. Just like outside, they change inside of us too. How we're feeling, how our attitudes are. And writing about it can be a huge, huge tool, a very healthy tool. I love writing. I don't write as much as I probably should or used to, but I loved writing music. I loved writing poetry. I loved writing, journaling about my day. It's something that is very helpful, and it can be fun too at the same time. And so here's a little formula you can use. What's stressing me out with regard to stress in this particular? What's stressing me out? How do I feel about it? And what's one step today I can take to improve? Real simple. So let's go over that one more time. We're talking about writing and dealing with stress. And so here's the framework for this. Write down what is stressing you out. Write down how you feel about it. And then write down one step you can take today to move in the right direction of lessening that stress, whatever that is. Now you have a plan. All right. Now you have at least somewhat of a start of a plan. Number 4, pray or meditate. This is a great one. And I'm going to keep it real simple. You don't have to be religious to benefit from prayer and meditation, okay? Big difference between religion and spirituality. Not going to get into that today. Talked about it before on the podcast. You don't have to be religious. You can sit in quiet and you can meditate in quiet and peace. You can pray. But the purpose here is to slow down that mental noise. Slow down the mental noise, right? That's the purpose. Number 5, talk it out. Man, it feels so good just sometimes to talk it out. And it's hard to do when we're stressed. It's hard to open up sometimes. And it's such a healthy tool at the same time to get that stuff out. And it's not like we have to look for answers. We don't need anyone to come fix. We just need to get the stress out. We just need to let it go sometimes. So when we're able to do that with somebody, and then a lot of the time someone has their own stresses, and then maybe we can encourage them. Maybe we can speak into them a little bit. And in turn, that will help us. So half of the weight, like if you're feeling like the weight of the world's on your shoulders and you're stressed and you don't know what to do, half of that weight will come off the moment you talk about it and you let it out. I remember the moment that I said to Jess, like, I need some help, I think. I have a drinking problem. I need some help. My habits around alcohol are not healthy. And I remember how relieved I felt in that. It was so relieving. It was so just like, oh gosh, thank God. And thank God she responded well to it, and she understood, and she was compassionate towards me. She didn't say, "You idiot," because she could have, because I was an idiot at that time. But like, I was like, okay, this is real. All right. And I just remember the weight of the world, just a big portion of it feeling like it was like, okay, this is real. I got to admit this. That was huge. Number 6, break it down. Break it down. Like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to climb the whole mountain in one day. You just need to take a step in the right direction. Big problems can feel really overwhelming. They can feel really scary. They can feel like they're never going to be fixed. They can feel hopeless. Like, I get it, but it's the small steps that feel doable. And so I always like to use the example of building a house. You don't just show up one day and build a house in a day, more than a standard house. More than likely, you're not going to do that. You're going to level the dirt out. You got to get some pipes in there. You got to get a foundation. You got to get a frame up. You get some walls in there. You get a roof on it. You get some floors done. You get the water running. These are all little steps in the right direction that happen over time. And in the end, when that house is complete, you have a nice home for a family to move into. Okay? It's the same in the big problems that we have, the overwhelming things. They're not going to get solved in a day, but they can get solved over time if we chip away at them and we do small, actionable steps. So you don't have to climb the whole mountain. Just take the next step in the right direction. And then what about choosing a stress outlet? Like, what is your stress outlet? And this is huge because we're replacing. So before, our stress outlet was, oh my God, I had a long ass day at work. I'm over this. I'm going to come home. I need a couple drinks. If you're trying to improve your relationship with alcohol and not do that and stop drinking, then you're going to need to find a different outlet. So what is it? Is it going to the driving range afterwards? Is it going on a run? Is it lifting some weights? Is it going fishing? Is it listening to some music? Is it cooking dinner that night, playing with your kids? Is it going on a walk with your wife? Is it reading a book? Is it going to a meeting? Is it going to a men's group? Is it having a couple meetings a week during the week where you hop on and you talk to somebody and you guys just chop it up and talk about your week? Is it journaling? What is your stress outlet? You have to replace that time you drank with something positive, something different, and you have to be consistent with it. That's the hardest thing for most dudes, is that consistency. So let's talk about some real life scenarios here. Let's talk about some real life things. These are average things. They happen often for people, okay? So let's say that you have work and you have a lot of stress to get some things done by a certain date, okay? And you're feeling it. The old you on the way home goes, you know what? I need to stop off and have a drink. I'm feeling pretty stressed out. I got this project and this meeting coming up. It's due Friday and I haven't even started it. So instead of stopping at the bar on the way home, that's the old you. The new you stops at the gym on the way home or throws your jogging shoes and your jogging shorts. It's this new thing called jogging. I don't know. Anyways, I think it was from Anchorman, something, some Will Ferrell movie. But throw them in your car and, go for a run or a walk right after, or go home and change and then go ride your bike, go on a bike ride, go on a walk, go on a run, hit the gym, do something to replace that old habit, the old you on the way home. You'll still feel in control, like you have some control, like I'm choosing to do this. I'm just choosing to not go to the bar or the restaurant. All right. Other scenario. What about family stress? The kids are going crazy. I'm dealing with this or that with the kids, with their school or with their sports or with their grades or with their attitudes, whatever. And now to add to that, my wife's frustrated and we're in it. Like, what are you going to do? The old you, grab me a beer. Let me drink about it. No, the new you takes some breaths, stops for a minute, maybe walks out in the garage, walks out in the backyard, walks out on the porch, wherever, walk out to your truck, your car, whatever. You're going to take a few breaths. Maybe you might even stand there for 10 minutes, just in silence. Just breathe a little bit. Just relax. You're going to reset. And that's leadership. You're calm. You're going to respond. You're not going to react. Stressed leaders who drink react. They get angry. They yell. They're not nice. That's not leadership. It's weakness. It is in many ways. So the old you cracks a beer. The new you takes some breaths, steps outside, resets. What about financial stress? It's another one. Scenario 3. Bills are piling up. I'm getting behind. Starting to get stressed. I had to dip into savings. Man, been there. The old you drink because your finances are a mess and you just drink to forget about it. Gosh, I remember those days. I was very bad in debt. Collections, no money, couldn't pay bills. So it was this cycle, just continuing to spend it on alcohol, no budget, nothing. And I just drank to forget about it. That's the old you. That's the old me. That's what the old me would have done. The new me, matter of fact, I just did this new budget. It's kind of funny. Didn't even think about that, but I write the numbers down. I create a spreadsheet, create a budget. God, my nose is all stuffed up. I apologize. I'm in trouble, but I write the numbers down. And if I have collections, I call those collections or I pull a credit report and I'd start looking and back to the point of before you don't climb the mountain in the whole day, I start breaking each account down for 30 minutes, once a week, just so I'm not overwhelmed. I break it up and I start with this account and I cut this expense and I don't drink about it. I face it and I handle it and I get some help if I need some help. Maybe I have a buddy who's good with finances. Maybe I lean on him a little bit. Shout out to Ray. That's my boy. Those are the types of things that help. Action reduces anxiety. A plan reduces anxiety. Is it perfect? No. Does it take time? Yes. Is there going to be bumps along the way? Yes. But eventually, with consistency, with a plan, with practice, with showing up, it will get better over time. So let's recap real quick and then we're going to wrap up today. The truth about stress and drinking. Stress is normal. Alcohol never solves it. Movement and action reduce stress. A plan reduces stress. Avoidance makes stress worse. And facing problems builds strength. And that goes for facing them in a healthy manner. So I got a couple action steps for you. There's some of these in the book as well. You can check out. What's your stress-free toolkit? Like pick your top 3. What are the 3 things that you're going to do to deal with stress? Are you, is it breathing, journaling, and prayer? Is it talking to someone, riding a bike? Is it going to the driving range and then having some quiet time out back? What are those things that you're going to do? And then do a daily reset. Schedule 10 minutes out during the day where you're going to sit in quiet for 10 minutes. We have a thing called the vow of silence that I learned at a Warrior Heart boot camp. It was great. And we did it a couple times a day. And I think it was 30 minutes, 20 or 30 minutes vow of silence where nobody talks and you sit and you journal or you write or you pray or you meditate, or I like to walk personally. I'm a big walker, get a little exercise and just sit in thoughts and pray and listen to God at the same time. Those are good ones. But that daily reset, what does that look like for you? When are you going to do those things? And then move before you react. When stress hits, move first. Go walk. Do the walking one like I do. Take a walk and relax. Think, pray, meditate. Do some push-ups. Maybe you just need to get your ass kicked real quick, or some jump rope. 30 on, 30 off, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. Do that 10, 20 times. That kind of stuff helps as well. Writing it down though, and, talking about it, opening up about it, acknowledging it, not hiding it, not drinking it, not covering up in alcohol. That's what's going to help, because otherwise it's not going to get solved. You're never going to make any progress. You're just going to stay stuck in more stress. All right. So if this episode hit home for you, which I know there's so many dudes out there and people who have to deal with this on the daily, just as I do myself. Thank God I don't turn to alcohol anymore. I have other ways that I deal with it, other healthy ways. So if this episode hit home for you, this is exactly why I wrote the book, Sober Guy, How Do I? Real Answers for Men Who Want to Quit Drinking, Lead Strong, and Win at Life. And each chapter tackles a real problem that guys face when they stop drinking. So that's stress, social situations, relationships, discipline, being a dad, all that good stuff. So grab the book, share this episode with a friend. I'd love it if you left a review. If you did pick up the book, thank you so much for that. And you can also join the Victory Circle. Go to thatsoberguy.com. We have lots of resources there, but we have our free online men's community, the Victory Circle. You got a lot of great dudes in there. Shout out to all the dudes in the Victory Circle. I appreciate y'all. And man, thanks for tuning into That Sober Guy podcast. Take care. God bless. Keep your blood clean.